Laura Ingraham had on Rick Scott, and you're not going to see him talk much here, but in this interview, they said a number of absurd things. I'm only going to show you a little piece of it, but if you watch the whole thing, they say a number of absurd things. Rick Scott put out an 11-point plan and said, this is what us Republicans are running on in the midterms. Now, on the one hand, I commend that because he's saying, I don't want to be a total empty suit and run on nothing. I want to show people, hey, this is what we stand for. Let's be upfront and honest with people about what we stand for. Okay, good. As a matter of principle, I like that you're just telling me what you're in favor of. Great. Now, there's another faction in the Republican Party, the dominant strain in the Republican Party, led by Mitch McConnell, who says, what are you doing? What are you doing? We're up like a zillion points in the generic ballot. We're going to win. The question is just by how much. If you just shut up, we'll probably win by more. Now, even though that's more Sith Lord dark shit, like let's hide what we're really about, etc., it's smarter politics because what McConnell seems to understand that Rick Scott doesn't is like, if you flesh out our ideas in detail, it's actually not that popular, and maybe we'll get fewer votes if you do that. Okay, so there's a big split in the Republican Party right now. Rick Scott took the reins. He's like, I'm just plowing forward with this. I'm going to make my plan. I don't care what Mitch McConnell says. He releases it, and I want you to look at, number one, the infighting here, but number two, how this plan is described, and then I'm going to tell you what's in the plan, and you are going to be floored.
Is Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell worried about his top spot on the GOP totem pole? We move now to domestic politics. Well, that would explain his visceral reaction to an 11-point governing plan put forward by Florida Senator Rick Scott. Should the GOP retake Congress this fall, Scott's plan is unabashedly populist, which is why McConnell is using 1 point in the plan to discredit the rest of it.
Let me tell you what would not be a part of our agenda. We will not have as part of our agenda a bill that raises taxes on half of the American people and sunsets Social Security and Medicare within 5 years.
The turtle Sith Lord has a point. So now she says it's an unabashedly populist plan. It is not that. It is atrociously stupid. I'm going to go through it. You're not going to believe it. The fact that she called this populist shows the right-wing perception of what populism is among the elites is mental. I mean, they're totally out to lunch. So, prong number one, you guys are half of these things aren't even policies. They're just like vague Republican slogans that you could put on a fucking fortune cookie. Education. Our kids will say the Pledge of Allegiance, salute the flag, learn that America is a great country, and choose the school that best fits them. Okay, so little dig at public schools there. There's a school choice, so they want to privatize schools, of course. Pledge of Allegiance, salute the flag, learn that America is a great country. So in other words, they look at like what they view as liberal propaganda of all you guys do is teach that America is bad. And they say, we would like to do the mirror image propaganda of that and teach you only that America is great. So they want to teach like American exceptionalism. So what do you want to do? You want to teach American exceptionalism is American supremacism. So teach we're better than everybody else. And also what? If you're only going to teach America's great, what are you not teaching? What parts of our history are you burying? Are you burying Japanese internment, Jim Crow, slavery, Native American genocide? Now, I'm not here to tell you you should only teach the bad things. I think you should teach the good and the bad things because that's what an education is. You got to give all the facts and all the information and, let people make up their own mind, but give an accurate depiction and description of the country. They don't want to do that. They want to do their own propaganda. Only teach that America's good, Joe. Only play up the things that we like. That's it. Only the things we like. This is the first prong of his policy plan. Number 2, colorblind equality. Government will never again ask American citizens to disclose their race, ethnicity, or skin color on any government form. This is the second prong of his 11-point policy plan. So-called policy plan. Number 3, safety and crime. The soft-on-crime days of coddling criminal behavior will end. We will refund and respect the police because they, not the criminals, are the good guys. police budgets are soaring. They are soaring right now. They love to, pin this on the entire left, this idea of defund the police. There is literally only one Democratic congressperson who ran on it, Cori Bush, and she won because she represents Ferguson. So this idea that, there's this epidemic of Democrats defunding the police around the country, it's not happening. It's not real. And when they say, enough with the soft on crime stuff, what does that mean? What does that mean? What are you going to crack down on and make illegal that's not already illegal? Or are you just going to take all the laws that are on the books and enforce them extra now? What exactly does that mean? I want to be hard on crime. Well, look, I'm hard on crime too if you're talking about rape and murder and robbery and things of that nature, but those things are already illegal and those things are already enforced. So what are you talking about? When I hear, end the soft on crime days, stop coddling criminal behavior, I hear we're going to double down on the drug war. That's what we're going to do. We're going to take non-violent offenders and double down on punishing them and locking them in a cage, when really the conversation we should be having now is to end the drug war and legalize marijuana at the very least. So again, I'm tough on crime if you're talking about rape and robbery and murder, etc. But I don't even think the so-called drug crimes should be crimes. They're nonviolent. Nobody's getting hurt. Should we go arrest the CEO of Budweiser because they're selling a harmful product? Well, this is his approach. Okay. Let's continue. Number 4, immigration. We will secure our border, finish building the wall, and name it after President Donald Trump. Bro, what? This notion that the Democrats are soft on the border. Joe Biden has kept in place a number of Donald Trump's harshest immigration policies. Title 42 is still in place. Remain in Mexico is still in place. Barack Obama, when he was president and had Biden as vice president, they broke the deportation record. They deported more than Donald Trump did. They are now saying, you don't have due process if you come in this country. Because we have a pandemic, we're just going to kick you out immediately. That's Title 42. Courts have ruled that's kind of unconstitutional. The U.S. government's like, I don't really care. We're still going to deport them. So Biden is being very right-wing and very harsh on immigration. And these guys there is no we agree with you on that, sir, because we're intellectually honest. They're just we got to be tougher and secure the border. Name the wall after Trump. The whole thing is just a right-wing virtue signal. A lot of these things, some of these things are policies. A lot of them aren't even policies. Number 5, growth in the economy. I love this one. We will grow America's economy, starve Washington's economy, and stop socialism. Dog, what socialism? If we had it, I'd be ecstatic. I'd be like, man, based Comrade Biden. But we don't. There is no universal health care in this country. There is no free college in this country. There is no, universal unionization. There is no paid vacation time by law. We can't even get that through. Can't even get universal pre-K through. Can't even get elder care through. What socialism? The only socialism we do have is corporate socialism, which is corporatism, which is basically give all the money to the corporations and the rich. When they hit a down patch, I don't even know if that makes sense. When there's a downturn in the economy and they're going bankrupt, you bail them out. Like what happened with the airlines during COVID. They already had billions of dollars, stashed away, and we gave them billions more. Because, oh my God, the economy's going bad. What do? Bail out from the top down. 2008 Wall Street crash. What do? Rush in and bail out the big banks. No strings attached. Then they'll let them pay bonuses out and whatever. So the idea that we have socialism for regular people in this country is nonsense. I wish we did. I wish at the very least we were a social democracy. I wish workers had more control. Stop socialism, please. And now, the specifics of this, though, when you get into the specifics of this number 5 policy here, growth in the economy, this is the thing McConnell was referring to. You know what one of his plans is? They say it. They come out and say it. About half the country doesn't pay anything in federal taxes. We're going to make them pay taxes. That half the country that doesn't pay anything in federal taxes, you know who he's talking about? The poorest half of the country. The poorest half of the country. Now, why do they pay no federal taxes? They don't have any money. They don't have any money. They can't afford to pay taxes. They already pay state taxes. They already pay local taxes. They already pay a variety of other taxes. And they don't have the money to pay federal taxes so they don't pay federal taxes. He's like, we're going to raise taxes on them. So take the people who are struggling the most and burden them more. In fact, there was a report that was just released on this that found the bottom 40% of Americans would see an average increase in their taxes of $1,000 under this plan. So turns out Republicans are for tax hikes as long as it's for the poor and the middle class. As I've warned you about previously, all the rhetoric of we're for putting more money in your wallet. No, they only mean that for the wealthy and the upper middle class. They don't mean that for the middle class or the poor. They want to raise your taxes. And also the thing about Social Security and Medicare, he's going full Paul Ryan and like, let's privatize it. Even Mitch McConnell's like, you idiot. You're supposed to say these things behind closed doors. We're supposed to cut a deal to privatize it while lying about the fact that we're privatizing it. Nobody's going to accept it if you come out and say that we're going to privatize it, you jackass. Unbelievable. The sixth thing, government reform and debt. We will eliminate all federal programs that can be done locally and enact term limits and federal bureaucrats and Congress. Term limits are a solution in search of a problem. Doesn't matter if you have corrupt lawmakers serving for 1 year, 2 years, or 10 years. They're still going to be corrupt in their term. Because the problem is not you're there too long. The problem is you guys are all corrupted. But again, this stuff, it's a joke. This whole plan is a joke. Fair, fraud-free elections is number 7. We will protect the integrity of American democracy and stop left-wing efforts to rig elections. What does that even mean? That's just like I'm pandering and virtue signaling to Donald Trump with his nonsense about the election was rigged. That's what he's doing with this one. This is one of the things in their policy platform. What are you talking about? There were 60 court cases and Trump lost almost every single one of them. They did an audit in Arizona to find out what really happened. It turned out Biden won by more votes than anybody thought he won by on election day. You lost. Get over it. And also the idea of like the left-wing efforts to rig the elections. This is what they say as they do that. With all the voter ID laws and all the gerrymandering that they do. I mean, they're cry bullies. They pretend like they're victims as they're actually the bullies. And they whine and they whine and they whine. Number 8. This plank is called family. We will protect, defend, and promote the American family at all costs. Unless you're talking about paid maternity leave, we don't want to do that. Unless you're talking about paid paternity leave, you don't want to do that. Unless you're talking about paid vacation time, we don't want to do that. Unless you're talking about a 4-day work week, we don't want to do that. Unless you're talking about embracing at-home work instead of trying to push people back to the office, we don't want to do that. Oh, pro-family policies. Do you want to give higher wages to the American family? No, I don't want to do that. Child tax credit. It just expired and none of the Republicans were for renewing it. Child tax credit. Cut poverty child poverty like 40 or 50%. So we're all for protecting and defending the American family at all costs unless we actually have to do anything economically to help them, in which case, fuck them. Gender, life, and science. Men are men. This is the 9th plank. Men are men. Women are women. And unborn babies are babies. We believe in science. Unless it comes to climate change, you don't believe in science. Unless it comes to vaccines, you don't believe in science. Literally, the plank says men are men, women are women, and unborn babies are babies. We believe in science. What even is the policy? Where's the policy? What are you saying? Well, we'll just embrace any sort of anti-trans legislation around the country, like the one that just came out in Texas, where they're going to consider it child abuse if you have a trans kid, and the state will take your kids. This is what he's in favor of. Very pro-family there, by the way. Number 10, religious liberty and big tech. Americans will be free to welcome God into all aspects of our lives. And the 11th plank is America first. We are Americans, not globalists. That is rich, coming from a politician and a political party that has never met a so-called free trade deal they don't like. And by the way, it's not really free trade, it's just outsourcing deals. It's serving corporate interests in America over the well-being of American workers. So if they want to ship jobs to Bangladesh to pay pennies on the dollar and make more profit and screw over some community in Michigan or Ohio, they'll do it in a second. In a second. America first, my ass cheeks. These guys also love war. All the Republicans have a hard-on now for straight-up World War III. They're doing no-fly zone, doing no-fly zone, doing no-fly zone. America first. Oh, my God. Anyway, you can see why even Mitch McConnell is like, hey, dog, you can take your little plan here and shove it directly up your rectum. I'm not interested. I'm not interested. Why? Because we'll win by more if you don't tell people what we're for, peckerhead. Nobody likes our ideas. Get stuffed. Nobody likes our ideas. Oh my God. All right. There you have it, guys. They called this a populist plan. Raising taxes on the bottom 50% of Americans, people who can't afford it, that's populist. Populist, according to Laura Ingraham. There is not a single policy in here that is populist. Not a single one. Populist, representing the interests of average people. That's populism. None of that's being done here. It's just extreme social conservatism and authoritarianism mixed with standard free market bullshit. It's all vague Republican slogans that you could put on a fortune cookie. If you want to see me and Crystal Ball interview legends like Noam Chomsky, Cornel West, and more, subscribe to Crystal, Kyle, and Friends on Substack. $5 a month gets you the video version a day early. Remember, we take 0 ad dollars for this podcast. Or you can sign up on Substack for free and get the audio version a day later. Link in the video description box below.